Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing you another audio commentary, and this time I am commentating on Game 3 of the MSL Round of 8. And this matchup has kicked off in explosive style. This is being played on Carthage. We've got Zero in white, once again at the top half of the map, at the top left-hand corner of the map in white, at the 10 o'clock position, and it looks like we've got Savior at the 5 o'clock, Zero actually at 11 o'clock, Savior at 5 o'clock in purple at the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Huge game of StarCraft, Zerg versus Zerg. I have to admit, I don't find Zerg versus Zerg exciting typically, but because of the players involved and because of the way it's being played, it is exciting. That being said, both games so far have been pretty much build order victories. Neither player has won because of superior micro or tactics. It's just been Savior trying something. In the first game it didn't work. In the second game he went for almost exactly the same thing, although a slight variation of it, and it did work. This is Carthage, this is a two-player map, and I feel it'll be a little bit more difficult to pull off something like that on this map, so expect to see a little bit more standard, and expect to see the Mutalist micro come more into force in this game. Really, this game is hugely important for Zero. He just looks so crestfallen after the last game that he really needs to win here, because if he doesn't win here and goes 2-1 down after having been 1-0 up against Savior, he might feel that he's lost his chance, and that might just cause his confidence to plummet even further, and he might find himself getting steamrolled by a confident Savior. And it has to be said, whatever you feel about Savior or his play or his skills, it just showed immense confidence and self-belief for him to be able to go and do the exact same build that failed for him the first time around and execute it again. Savior sending a drone out fairly early on. It looks like he's actually sending a drone. Both of the players sending their drones out fairly on. So it looks like both players are going for pretty much identical builds here. It looks like both players gearing up to take their natural expos. So both players once again going for a 12 hatchery build. And the question is, will Savior once again, for a third time in a row, try the exact same build? Will he get the gas and just go for a rush? But it looks like actually a 9. It looks almost, yeah, no, never mind. Sorry, I'm being silly here. So both players, and it looks like Zero now putting his spawning pool down. This is what he's done pretty much all 3 games. Savior's put his spawning pool down as well, and now he's taking his extractor. And it'll be interesting to see Zero. So both players so far with identical builds, and it's just going to be a question of whether or not Savior once again tries to go in with the Zerglings. Surely Zero is going to be prepared for it this time around, and surely he's going to have the scout in position to see how many Zerglings Savior is producing. So Savior is going to be forced to play standard, I think. Savior is not really going to be able to do what he did in the last 2 games, because there's no way he's going to be able to produce a large group of Zerglings and his opponent not know about it. Gas up for Zero and for Savior. So far both players pretty much identical with the exact same build, the exact same timings, and buildings going up at the exact same time, which really at this level, if you go for the same builds, that's what should happen. If your buildings are going up slower, then you're doing something wrong. But Zero's Overlord now arriving over Savior's natural. Savior's Overlord also arriving just about at Zero's natural. So both players know exactly what the other player is doing, and they know that they have identical builds. Savior looks like he's sending a drone out to his natural. Zero looks like he's sending a drone out to his natural expo, probably to take his extractor, I would guess. Savior now starting up his lair, and he's got his natural expo up and running. He hasn't tried to take the extractor as of yet. Zero, actually, he's not. He's just sending the drones to mine. He's not trying to take his extractor either. So yeah, so this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a pretty standard game between these 2 guys, and this is going to be down to who is able to make those little decisions better and who's able to micro more effectively in the battles. And it looks like Zero's producing a few more Zerglings this time around than Savior. It looks like he's going to try and put a little bit of pressure on Savior, force Savior to produce a few more Zerglings as well. Savior with another Overlord popping out. And yeah, I mean, Zero has done so well in Zerg versus Zerg recently that you have to feel that he might have a slight edge, even though, you know, against Savior you can never say, because Savior does have great micro. People always talk about Savior having great tactics and just a huge sense of awareness and just being able to make the right decision almost every time. But Savior is, for me, a very complete StarCraft player. He can do pretty much everything, and his micro is right up there with the best of the best. So Savior's, although he did show himself a little bit vulnerable in that Pro League matchup versus Hades, where he did go down to Hades' superior Scourge micro after actually having a build order advantage and being ahead. Both players now with their spires going down at identical points in time. So this is going to come down to the maneuvering of the players' units, the maneuvering of their Mutalists, the decision of when to attack, when not to attack, when to use the Scourge, and how to use the Zerglings in conjunction with them, and to the actual micro you display in those battles. And it's going to be anyone's game right now. Both players with even I'm sure that by now whatever loss or sadness Zero felt after that defeat in the last game has been cancelled out, and that he's probably gearing up. And Savior now looks like he's trying to put some pressure on Zero. He's coming in with some Zerglings, and Zero does have more than enough Zerglings to cope with it this time around, but Savior always likes to be the aggressor, likes to put the pressure on his opponent. He doesn't have Zero has at least as many Zerglings as Savior. Savior holding some of his Zerglings back. Again, there's no way he was going to surprise Zero in this game by trying to put too much pressure on him with his Zerglings, but this time the Spires with identical timing. Savior doesn't want to leave his Zerglings hanging around too close to Zero's base, because he might find himself fighting Zerglings and Mutalisks, and then find himself forced to defend against Zerglings and Mutalisks. And that's a hugely risky maneuver if Savior does try to do that. He needs to pull those back, because the Spires are going to be up any second now, and the Mutalisks are going to be popping up for Zero. Zero now choosing to engage Savior. Savior might be in a little bit of trouble here. He might be a little bit outnumbered, and Savior vastly outnumbered. Zero waiting for Zerglings to pop and attacking Savior, and Savior leaving himself at Zero's front door is now under a lot of pressure. He's being forced to run away with his Zerglings. The Spire is up for Savior as well as for Zero, and Savior cleverly running up into the top left-hand corner, but Zero could have blocked him in there and waited for his Mutalisk to arrive, but Zero's pulled back as well. I think Zero had an opportunity there. Savior has managed to sneak a Zergling through. He's going to try and sneak a drone kill here, and Savior is attacking that drone, and that drone kill Savior almost takes that drone down. One more hit would have happened, but Zero's Zergling following up Savior's Zergling managed to get the kill. Now Zero's going to be in a position to put pressure on Savior, and Savior, I have to say, has played a little bit carelessly with his Zerglings, but Savior, again, remember, he's got the shorter supply route. There are advantages and disadvantages to playing more defensively in these Mutalisk versus Mutalisk battles. Savior now looks like he's ready to venture as well. Obviously, playing defensively means that as your Scourge pop out, your opponent's going to have less time to react, and you have a shorter supply route, so you can replenish your losses faster, meaning that you can catch your opponent off guard and build up a lead. At the same time, if your opponent is putting pressure on you at your base and you're defending at your base, there's a chance that with the splash damage, you can take some damage to your drones and lose some of your drones. Savior mining his second gas, obviously, as well, and continuing to pump out those Mutalisks, and a couple of Scourges out now for Savior as well. I haven't seen any Scourges out for Zero yet, but I'm sure he's going to have them. So far, both players have tested each other's defenses. Both players have made advances, made moves. Neither has paid off. Savior has been the aggressor early on. Zero coped competently and comfortably, as he did in the first game when he knew what Savior was coming. And Zero now is going to be able to sneak a Zergling in to Savior's base and get the scout off. And it'll be interesting to see if he tries. And Zero now sending the Scourges in advance of his Bane Force, just trying to catch Savior off guard, trying to take down some of his Mutalisks before Savior can actually to try and give himself a slight advantage with those Scourges. And he just got those Scourges hovering over Savior's lair, and Savior's going to be forced to bring something in here to take those Scourges out. Zero with great maneuvering of those Scourges over Savior's, and Zero's forced to pull them out before Savior's Mutalisk can come in and take them out. He didn't want to lose them. Now Zero's brought the Scourges over, and clever move by Zero, using his first pairs of Scourges to lure Savior to his main before coming in to the natural with another pair of Scourges. He's just hoping to catch one of Savior's Mutalisks off guard as they pop out, or maybe catch two Scourges with one and give himself a little bit of an advantage. Savior now with massive Mutalisks and Scourge. It looks like Savior's got a slightly more balanced army together. Zero's got a massive group of Mutalisks, but it's impossible for me to tell which player, if any, has more. Really, considering the builds and the economies of both players, they should be virtually identical. Looks like Savior is not content to sit in his base, and he's going to be the aggressor, and he's going to come after Zero. Looks like Savior managed to pick off one of Zero's Scourges there. He's got his Scourges bunched up. Zero's got his Zerglings, and great play by Savior. He picks up a couple of Zerglings and a drone. He gets a snipe kill on the Zerglings and the drones. He took out about 2 or 3 Zerglings as well as a drone there, and he's just moved out, and now he's going to take out Zero's Overlord as well, with some great Mutalisk macro. So Savior's aggression paying off for him early on, but is it going to cost him a little bit? Savior with some brilliant maneuver. The Scourges battling against each other. Savior's used up all of his Scourges. Zero's still got a couple of left, and Savior's going to be forced to retreat, but Savior definitely landed a few hits there. I'm not sure if either player's Mutalisk went down. I'm obviously watching this with my sound off, but Savior's aggression seems to be working a little bit for him here. He definitely took that drone out, but nevertheless, both players are still very close, and one big battle could still decide the game between these two players. Savior's replenished his Scourge force. He still hasn't lost any of his drones. We did see one drone go down for Zero. I'm not sure if he's replenished it yet. Now Zero decides that he's going to have to go on the aggressive. He's going to have to go on the attack, and he's pushing forward with his Zerglings. Savior now once again coming in. Savior running right into Zero's Scourges, it seemed like. I'm not sure if Savior lost any Scourges in the lost any Mutalisks in the process, but he seemed to run right into Zero's Scourges, and Zero might have the advantage now. Savior being forced to retreat. Zero now coming in with the Zerglings. Savior's got his Zerglings waiting though for Zero, and Zero, I'm not sure if he is microing those Zerglings. So Savior versus Zero. Zero seems to have a slight edge in in terms of the number of Zerglings he has. Savior's got a Mutalisk popping out, but he's going to be forced to pull his Mutalisk force back, and Savior in huge trouble now because Zero's Mutalisks are in his base. Savior doesn't have enough Zerglings to cope, and Savior's going to lose a few of his drones here. He really needs to pull back, but Savior meanwhile is too focused on the big aerial battle going on over his National Expo, and Zero's really putting the pressure on, and Zero's drones, Zerglings are killing Savior's drones, and Zero's going to take this game down. Savior's in massive trouble. He's forced to pull his Mutalisk back, and now he's losing drones into Natural as well. Zero doing a great job producing a few extra Zerglings, and now he's taken the lead in this game, and Savior's in huge trouble. Savior not able to keep up with Zero in the air versus air battle between the two players, and surely Zero has taken a game-winning lead now. He seems to have the aerial lead, and he's also done massive damage to Savior's economy, and Savior knows he needs to counter, so Savior's heading straight for Zero's base. Zero pulling back with units of his own, and Savior just didn't have enough Zerglings to cope with Zero's Zerglings there, and he was put in a disadvantaged position. Now Savior coming in with the Mutalisk. His Scourge is arriving a little bit later. He doesn't seem to have the number of Mutalisks he needs to cope, and Zero's now got him surrounded, and Savior's running away, but he's really far behind now, and I think that Zero is definitely going to take this game back, and he's definitely going to take the advantage back in this series, and it looks like it's going to be 2-1 to 0. Savior loses all of his Mutalisks, and he's going to have to GG anytime now. So Savior GG's, Zero takes the lead, 2-1 into the fourth set. This is Klazart, guys. Thanks for listening. Zero's confidence back up.